Look at that little tiny window.
I know, cute. So cute.
Oh wow, look at that.
What's that?
It says 1664.
How can you read
It
that?
says BWD 1664.
How can you read that?
It's well cool, isn't it?
I know. You need more writing like that. A big hello everybody. Welcome to St Mary's Church in Great Leighs.
Yep, a huge hello. Today, Yhana and I have brought you all here to St Mary's Church in Great Leighs, Essex. And we'd like to share a little bit about the history of this beautiful church. This is one of 6 round towers that exist in Essex. And it's been said it's one of the best examples. And on the church walls, there's lots of very old graffiti dating back from the 17th and 16th centuries, some of which are witch symbols. I guess the folk in Great Leighs were pretty superstitious, and there's some incredible examples, and we found one dated 1664, so we're going to show you all those shortly. So
Let's get started.
let's get started and enjoy the episode. And it's very cold.
And
The fields behind us, just in front of
are
us,
covered in ice.
are covered in ice and frost.
Same with
And I think it's probably about -1 degrees.
yeah,
so
it is.
Yhana and I are freezing to bring you this episode, so we hope you enjoy it.
And also, hit that subscribe button notification and give us a huge thumbs up.
Yep, don't forget, hit that subscribe button, hit the notifications, give us a huge thumbs up, and enjoy the show. So you ready?
Started.
Let's get started.
Yeah, go.
Don't trip now. Welcome to St Mary the Virgin, Great Leighs, Essex. We're going to begin our story with the soldiers of the Parliamentarian Army that walked into Great Leighs, Essex in late 1643, early 1644, and set to work at vandalising this church you see before you. Civil war swept through England during the years 1642 to 1651, and during this period many churches were vandalised by parliamentary Puritan Civil War iconoclasts. Here in East Anglia they were led by William Dowsing. William Dowsing was born in Laxfield, Suffolk, so he was a local East Anglian man. In August 1643, Dowsing was appointed by Edward Montague, 2nd Earl of Manchester, and made Provost Marshal of the armies of the Eastern Association. He was made responsible for supplies and administration in Cambridgeshire, Essex, Suffolk, Norfolk, Hertfordshire, Huntingdonshire and Lincolnshire. William Dowsing must have been a trusted parliamentarian because by December 1643 he was appointed by their Captain General, the Earl of Manchester, as Commissioner for the destruction of monuments of idolatry and superstition. He was ordered to carry out the Parliamentary Ordinance of 28th of August 1643, which stated that all monuments of superstition and idolatry should be removed and abolished, specifying fixed altars, altar rails, chancel steps, crucifixes, crosses, images of the Virgin Mary, and pictures of saints or superstitious inscriptions. In May 1644, the scope of the ordinance was widened to include representations of angels, a particular obsession of dowsing, rood lofts, holy water stoups, and images in stone, wood, and glass and on plate were ordered to be destroyed. Dowsing carried out his work in 1643 and 1644 by visiting over 250 churches in Cambridgeshire and Suffolk. He removed and defaced items that he thought fitted the requirements outlined in the ordinance. He recruited assistants, apparently amongst his friends and family, and where they were unable to perform the work themselves, he left instructions for the work to be carried out. Sometimes the local inhabitants assisted his work, but often he was met by resistance or non-cooperation. His commission, backed up by the ability to call on military force if necessary, meant that he usually got his way. He charged each church a noble £1/3 of a pound for his services. This Civil War vandalism can still be seen on the Church of St Mary's, Great Leighs, Essex today. Most notably, the holy water stoup inside the front porch has been ripped away from the wall. The church, however, was luckier than some, as beautiful carved stone effigies graced the windows and survived the Civil War destruction. Whether or not William Dowsing marched into Great Leighs with parliamentary soldiers himself is unclear. His associates certainly did, and the soldiers would have rounded the church whilst the Iconoclasts set to work. The parish church of St Mary the Virgin stands on high ground above the River Ter and about 2 miles outside the present location of the village of Great and Little Leighs. The most striking feature is its round tower, which can be seen clearly as you approach along Boreham Road. The church round tower is one of 6 in Essex and said to be the best. The walls of the chancel are made from flint rubble with some conglomerate, which is a coarse-grained sedimentary rock. There is also a scattering of Roman bricks, but very few. The nave of his parish church was built sometime around the year 1100 AD, and its foundations are Saxon in origin. So the present church was built on top of a much older place of worship. Construction work began by the de Mandeville family, who held the manor of Broomfield, Essex, as well as the manor of Great and Little Leighs. They would have overseen the building work of both Broomfield and Great Leighs Church, both of which have rounded towers. The original Norman building would have had a thatched roof, and much of the structure would have been wooden. The nave is 47 foot by 24¼ feet. The north wall, which is opposite the south-facing church porch, has 3 windows. The easternmost window is a much later addition and built in the 15th century during much of the parish church restoration. The 2 western windows are both of the 12th century and original to the construction of the nave. There is also a 15th century north doorway with moulded jambs, 4-centred arch and label with carved head stops much defaced. In the south wall are 3 windows. The easternmost is similar to the easternmost in the north wall. The second window is an original single 12th century addition, similar to those in the north wall. The westernmost window is of early 14th century and again installed during the church restoration. Between the 2 south-facing western windows is the 14th century south doorway, set within the 12th century opening. It has moulded jambs, 2-centred arch and segmental rear arch. It includes the very damaged and vandalised holy water stoop, which was mentioned earlier in this video. The chancel is 35 foot by 19.5 feet and was built circa 1330 during the parish church restoration. Many churches across England underwent extensions and restoration during this period. It was the reign of King Edward III, a golden time for England, and much of what you see in historical churches and castles happened during this period of English history. The east window is of 4 trefoiled ogee lights with net tracery in a 2-centred head. The external jambs, head and label and the rear arch are moulded. In the north wall are 2 windows, partly restored, of 2 cinque-foiled lights with a quarter-foil in a 2-centred head. The detail is similar to that of the east window in the south wall, where 3 windows similar to those in the north wall are much restored. Between the 2 western windows is a much restored doorway and moulded jambs, 2-centred arch and label. This is a priest's door and complete with ancient ironwork. The door is extremely small but exquisite. The doorway is a personal favourite of mine on this particular parish church. Next to this low doorway and close to where the chancel and nave meet is a low-sided window now blocked with bricks. The window is a leper window. A leper window was built low in the chancel wall of some medieval churches, usually iron-barred and shuttered. Lepers stood outside and watched mass through this window. Food may also have been passed through these windows, as lepers were poverty-stricken and ravaged with disease. It's an eerie spot to stand when you consider the death and illness of those that stood there in history. The west tower is 17 feet in diameter, is of late 12th century, so built after the nave was constructed. The tower is circular in plan and said to be one of the finest examples of round tower churches in Essex. The tower has 5 pilaster buttresses stopping at the floor level. The westernmost buttress rests on the label of the western doorway. It is said that the buttresses are purely for decoration, as the massive thick walls of the round tower need no support at all. The tower contains 5 bells, each inscribed Miles Gray made me 1634. These bells were cast in the churchyard. Facing outwards from the western round tower is a beautiful Victorian clock and gifted to the parish church by Mr. H. Tritton of Lyons Hall, which is a stately home opposite the church. If you look close enough as you venture around the church, you may also see sundials within the church walls itself. The roof of the modern south porch has some old timbers, possibly of the 15th century. One of the most interesting aspects of this particular Essex parish church is the amount of old graffiti that can be found on the outside walls, windowsills and doorways. Much of this can probably be dated to the 17th and 16th centuries. They include symbols of protection against witchcraft, some of which are dated. There are many of these protection symbols in various locations around the church, and they are easy to spot too. Some are even runic symbols for protection and birth. One of the witch protection symbols is dated 1664 and is initialed BD. Could this be a protection against a witch by this name? Or could they be the initials of the person who left the mark? Either way, superstition behind these are extremely interesting. Sad too, as many women, men and children were executed across England during the 17th and 16th century. Some died in prison, many were hanged. In Essex alone, more than 760 people were accused of witchcraft during the dates 1560 and 1680. Great Leighs itself has its very own story of witchcraft, which makes these symbols of protection against witches on St. Mary the Virgin, Great Leighs, even more credible. The story is associated with an Anne Hughes that lived close to Great Leighs in the 17th century. In 1621, she was found guilty by a Chelmsford court of practicing witchcraft. Most individuals charged with witchcraft were hanged, but Hughes was also accused of murdering her husband, which was punishable by burning at the stake. Denied a Christian burial, her remains were buried on the spot of her execution. It is believed this place of execution was either at the crossroads shared with the Castle Inn, or at a crossroads in between Great Leighs and Little Waltham, on a spot known as Scrap Faggot's Green. Wherever the true location might be has been lost with time, but a witch's stone exists outside the Castle Inn on the Great Leighs crossroads. Crossroads were commonly used to bury those denied a Christian burial at the time, such as executed criminals. There is debate over why this was the case. Some argue that, as crossroads belonged to nobody, there were no burial costs. Others believe that crossroads were chosen to confuse any returning spirits, as was customary in the burial of those believed to be witches. A large stone was placed over the site to trap the spirit and mark the grave. In regards to the stone in Great Leighs, the stone remained in place for centuries. That was until World War II, where local legend says it was accidentally moved and caused the restless spirit of Anne Hughes to return from the grave and wreak havoc in the village. It is said that the church bells of St. Mary the Virgin randomly rang. Chickens stopped laying eggs, and cows no longer produced milk. Livestock escaped with no clear means of doing so, and her ghost was seen in the Castle Inn. It is said that human bones were found beneath a stone around the time that these seemingly cursed events began. Superstition and panic spread across the village, and able to endure no more, the villagers insisted the stone be placed over the grave. It was found broken and reinstalled. The unwelcome events promptly stopped. The witch stone of Anne Hughes remains in place to this day, though the inn is still said to be haunted by her ghost. The rest of the village, however, has had peace ever since. Most of St Mary's Church in Great Leighs is made from flint, but there are a few Roman bricks, and Yhana's going to help point some of those out. So Yhana, can you find some Roman bricks?
Okay, so there's one there.
Let's have a look.
One there.
Yeah, well done.
I can't read, but there's one there.
And you found another one up there?
Too short.
Yeah, there's not many, is there, Yhana?
No. I found it.
And you got another one there?
And is that Roman? It's quite pretty.
Yeah, I think that's a Roman brick as well, yeah.
Quite pretty. Come round here.
Yeah, there's not as many here, is there, as there is in St Mary's Church in Broomfield? Because they're literally on one side of that church, it's all made of Roman brick, but here it's mainly flint.
I found another bit.
And you found a few more bits there. Let's have a little look.
Like that and that one, and them two. They're quite cool.
Yeah, well done.
And is that Roman? That's like really weird.
Yeah. No, that's a piece of flint.
Oh.
Hey, look, there's a few here, Yhana. Look, there's in a line.
Oh yeah.
And they're quite nice examples, aren't they?
Yeah, they are really nice examples for Roman.
So yeah, me and Yhana have actually been over here a few times
I found a big
filming. You found a big one there, yeah?
Look, a really big one.
Yeah, we actually came over here in the summer, and we were here yesterday, and today we've returned to complete some of our filming, and we found some amazing graffiti.
I found a really big one.
You found a piece of graffiti?
No,
or a
really
Roman
big
brick?
Roman, look up there. You see it?
Yeah, I can see that.
Shoot!
Yeah, that's really big, that piece, isn't it?
I know.
Shall we find these pieces of graffiti?
Okay, there's some here, but I don't know if you can really read them. There's like some symbols up here. It's like okay, come then, follow me. You will go. Now look for some other ones. Okay, we found a star yesterday. A nice graffiti star. It's really cool.
Yeah, so that's actually like a witch's symbol to keep witches away, that is.
Is it?
Yeah.
I can draw them.
Very old.
I can draw them.
You can draw them, yeah?
Uh-huh. And then there's like some writing there. I don't know what that is though.
This signature here looks like it's possibly AB, and it says 1756, I think.
Oh, I found a nice bit of Roman brick.
And you found a piece of Roman brick.
Look how pretty that is. There's not even broken. It's like one chunk.
Yeah, well done.
Okay, there's like some graffiti there. Like I don't know what that says, but yeah.
So a little look at that little tiny doorway.
Oh yeah,
This
because
is really sweet doorway just here.
and there's like
It's
some.
not very big. It's just like Yhana's size, isn't it? I think it's amazing. It's lovely.
And we found this.
And that lovely little sweet window. And there's some amazing pieces of some graffiti here. One says BWD.
Wait, we
And
didn't.
it's dated 1664.
Really?
And I love that window, that's really sweet.
Let's have a look at some graffiti in here. So, we found this.
Yeah,
Today.
now you see, I think that's possibly another witch's symbol, that is.
I don't know what that is though. That's quite cool. We also saw these little heads. Ah! Some windows are really nice. Wow, look at that big bit of something. Whatever that is.
Yeah, it's a big piece of
What's this thing? Knew it. Okay, let's go and have a look for another one.
St Mary the Virgin Parish Church in Great Leighs is certainly one of the finest samples of a round tower church in Essex, steeped in history, superstition, witchcraft and civil war. Like its sister church in Broomfield, Essex, It's a beautiful example of Norman architecture and will dominate and grace the landscape for centuries to come.
How cold do you reckon it is?
I don't know, I reckon it's pretty cold because it's a natural spring. It comes from up the hills, I think.
How cold do you reckon
I don't know, you're going to put your hand on the side. Don't fall in.
Not even cold.
It's not cold?
No?
No, I'm not touching it because I'm cold anyway.
I'm going to come round here.
Oh, look, it runs down back there as well, look.
Oh yeah, we come down there as well. I feel happy. It's not cold, it's really warm.
Yeah. And years ago there used to be a lion's face just on that.
Where?
Yeah. Long gone now.
Yeah. A big thank you everyone for watching our new episode. Please don't forget to smash that subscribe button, turn on notifications and give us a huge thumbs up. From Stephen and I hope you have a lovely new year. Stay safe and we'll see you all soon.